stakes is high when you talking about
We're blessed. So let's go ahead. You
Indeed.
want to just jump into it,
Just go.
Dad? Hello, everybody. Welcome back to 3D Dad and Daughter Discussions. We are thrilled to be here with our third episode of, I think, some more great topics. We always have great topics to share with you guys, don't we, Dad?
We would not be here if we didn't.
Yeah, of course. I mean, everybody has something to talk about, and so do
Mhm.
we. And we have, our own thoughts and experiences that we just want to continue to share. So, I just, I'm ready to just dive into it. I think, you know, this Mother's Day it, mm, it was different for me. Uh, Most different than most because I have not, it was my first one not spending with my mom. And yeah, I know I just kind of am jumping in. I don't know if it's out of order, whatever. But this is I think I want to just get this off my heart for now. But yeah, it was the first one that I did not get to spend with my mom. It was by choice. Um I am sharing this because Dad, you shared with me a very, very um I just couldn't help but relate to this video that you shared with me. The one
Okay.
where the mommy issues and it had the three women on the panel.
Yeah, that's the Tiffany Cross does the Cross Generations is the name of her podcast, and those
Oh,
were her guests
okay.
that she had on the show with her.
I get it mixed up. I think I was just looking at the title of it. But
Hmm.
that's right. Yes, the woman's platform. Her name is Tiffany, and I just thought it was, spot on. It hit the nail on the head for me in so many spectrums. I just, when I watched it, I was reeled in because I didn't realize that it was as common for women, not just in my peer group, but across generations that deal with strained mother daughter relationships
Hmm.
in different levels, but the levels all correlate in some way. So it was a woman in my generation. I'm 33. There was a 35-year-old on there. And I think the other one was
61-year
62,
old, and
61,
Tiffany is I think she's 44.
45, 44.
Hmm.
Sorry, Tiffany.
Hmm.
But
So
either
I
way,
don't
it's a
think she's
beautiful,
she's fine.
beautiful number. She's a beautiful woman.
Hmm. That
But
she is. Hmm.
yes. But I thought that it really spoke volumes to me because it let me know, okay, where exactly it is that I am happy to be as far as a space is in my life and where I do not want to be in a space in my life. Well, I probably prevented myself from being in a space in my life. Like I just want to be at peace. And a lot of the
Hmm.
times having to, recognize that regardless of who it is, you have to fight for that peace one way or the other.
Hmm.
Even if it takes you a little longer than you might anticipate, it's going to come eventually. And when the day comes, you feel it.
I promise you, Carla, I know it's scary to face that, but this is the deal. Until you do it for yourself, not for her, not for anybody, you're going to be stuck and your daughter's going to be stuck.
But I feel like I acknowledge she can't do no better. She doesn't want my mom. She doesn't want to do any better. And I know that she has her own trauma. So I've chosen to just accept that and move on.
I chose to be there for my mom because my other brothers and sisters have abandoned her. I'm looking at this lady, and what I do, Carla, I picture her the day my dad left her in the projects. I look at that 21-year-old girl, and that's who I deal with. I don't deal with the lady that's in front of me. I deal with that chick that was a good person who wanted the best for her life. And that man left her in total discombobulation where she had to drag these four kids out the projects and do it. Did she do it right? But she had to do it. And so now I don't deal with a Claire Huxtable. I deal with that young girl standing by the window wondering where her husband is.
Mhm.
Even when my mother hurt me, I don't look at her. I go to that girl and I see her. And that's the story I tell myself to heal myself so I can have a relationship with my children.
Yeah.
I've come to my own non-professional conclusion that we're all gonna want our mom in one way or another. You know, we want that. But when it comes at the expense of my mental health, when it comes at the expense of my children, because when I finish being in that space, I am heavy. I'm like, take these clothes off.
Yeah.
Like, Lord, what is on me? To accept, like, look, she just didn't know how to love me. I have to forgive for me. So I have forgiven. I know she didn't have it easy, but I'm not going to give you an excuse to not heal it. I get told off all the time by family. That's your mama, though.
Yeah.
And that's something that in our culture we do, where it's like blood is thicker than water. That's your parents. And the Bible says you honor your mom and dad. But can we continue reading on the Bible when it says that they should not do certain things to you?
Yeah.
Because it's not
that's
just honor them just because. They can't just treat you any old way.
Yeah.
And you just still honor them and be right there. Yes, mama. No,
So
I'm
you
not doing
think
that.
How's that helping you? Is it helping?
Absolutely.
Okay.
My home
Okay.
is so peaceful.
Okay. Constant grind with nobody to help ever.
With
All I
four
see is
babies.
how much you have the sympathy for your mom and this love. Where are you?
Scrambling.
Right? I don't want that, Miss Crosby. I don't want that. And I don't think that we should. And that is your journey, right? And you're already 60 some odd years old and you're choosing that. And if that's what makes you happy, but I don't want to scramble. I don't want to say, well, my mom had a shitty life. Her mom moved her up to New York. They were walking the streets. She left her dad for a woman.
Can't ignore it or walk away from it. And I just, I don't know. It meant a lot to me that you sent that to me because it gave me a sense of closure after experience what I experienced on this Mother's Day. It was fine. I stayed busy and everything like that. And I was to myself specifically more so to just reflect on the whole situation and, overall knowing that I'm more at peace just being in my own orbit with, the people that I feel are contributing to that peace wholly in that way. That's what gave me a sense of the closure to know that I'm not by myself in that,
Correct.
Yeah, but I know that you've seen it firsthand of everything with my personal experience, but I know that you sent that to me because you watched it yourself and you had your own, perspectives and you felt like it would touch me in a certain way. So I'm just curious what exactly it was that moved you to send it to me specifically.
Well, I thought I'm certain that it was important for you to see that, and I hope that everyone in our community, our broader community, takes the time to watch that because it is appropriate for that to be the focus on the fatherhood failures that we see so often in our community, and that people talk about women having daddy issues and all that, and all that's correct. But what winds up happening is that legions of women who have had very challenging and stressful and frustrating and embarrassing and humiliating and enraging relationships with their mothers seems like that is swept under the rug and just kind of ignored. And there's a different kind of emotional toll that takes on a young person, period, but I guess in particular with a young woman, because as you grow through life, your mind always has to be on, am I going to become my mother? Well, my relationships with my children, however I may come, to them, will it mirror that? I wanted you to see these women have this discussion, and also it hit close to home for me because as your father, I am beyond aware of the drama that you've had with your mother, but I'm also responsible to an extent. And the piece that I wrote about this issue was really more than for anyone else that ever read it, is for my adult children, because you all are entitled to an understanding of why some of the hangups that you have, and if you don't have them now, you will probably have them later, or you've already had them and have worked through them. If you have experienced a dysfunctional relationship with your mother, there is a very real chance that your father played some role in that dysfunctional relationship. I cannot speak to anyone else's life and experience. I can speak to mine, and that is definitely the case.
That is the
Um,
case because that's
to
what they
be
were talking about too in that. Yeah,
sure, on different levels,
on
and
different
I
levels.
think it's important as men for us to think more broadly about how we manage ourselves in our relationships. Because it's not about us, it's not about our mate or former mate or whatever. In the end, the people that carry the scars of that failed broken relationship are going to be the children that were brought into it. Now, people have said this before, and but you can't say it enough times because people
Hmm.
lose track of it. Now, um, we don't have to go into too many details, but we can go into enough of it for it to be worth people's time to watch it.
Agreed.
Your mother has been on a holy terror. She's been, fuck that. She's been on a jihad
Mm.
against me for 2 decades, two full
Yeah.
decades of just chaos, confusion, disruption, um, triggering, everything you can think of because of the way that our relationship ended. Now, our relationship had to come to an end. I could not do that to myself. I tried to stay there for you and your brother,
Right.
but that shit is not going to last. And quite frankly, if it does, you may find that the juice wasn't worth the squeeze. Is
Hmm.
it healthier for kids to see a couple that is faking it like hell and that
Yeah.
you're aware
And
of all of
just
the drama that went on
toxic.
in the house, and that at a point
Yes.
you have to choose. We're all gonna have problems. What kind of problems are you gonna choose? And I made my
Mm.
choice finally because I could have chosen the problem that continued along the lines of, shit getting broken up in the house and thrown all over the place in the house, and the looming specter of violence and all that other stuff. Now, I am a big dude. Your mother is a small woman. I have no fear of her from a, physical violence standpoint. However, that doesn't mean that it's a safe environment for me to be in, or more
Right.
important, for y'all to be in. But
Hmm.
here's the kicker. Your mother is fully responsible for her conduct. The shit that she has done to you, the stuff that she has done and is doing to your brother and his family as he is moving into his life. She is responsible for that. But I cannot sit here and perpetrate like I don't know that this is all the residual effects of me mishandling the dismount, if you will, of the high wire act that was our marriage. We were married for over 10 years. And, it was, I didn't help y'all out in any way. I will say this to you, and you are the editor and executive producer of these segments. So I hope that you leave this in because this will be valuable to other people. But I can tell you, I can see very clearly the gaps in your understanding of yourself in relationships. Okay, in your own relationships, I can see it very clearly because I am 20 years your senior. I can see it clearly. And also because I help to cause them. So I know very well why you overvalue men in your life because you witnessed your mother flip nuts over the fact that our relationship had come to a close. But not just that, because I had other women and didn't think about the fact that that was breaking her self esteem. Her image of herself was being attacked by my conduct. And I don't give a fuck how young I was. I was old enough to have y'all and old enough to be married to her, which means I was old enough to know better and to do better. I did neither of those things. I just went forward like, well, I'm taking care of her, I'm taking care of everybody, and I'll do what the fuck I want to do. Now, I hope that young men in their 20s are hearing this because my prayer would be that at least one young man out there will come across this and be like, nah, I heard this old dude on here talking about, how he got down before, and the hell it caused 20 years later, and it had never stopped. Because you can divorce a woman all day, but the kids are permanent. And she's connected to them, so you connected to her. So when it finally got to the point where she couldn't do shit to me anymore, dragging in the court, false allegations, charges, lawsuits, all of this other shit, you know, people don't remember this, but there was a time when there wasn't no reality shows, there wasn't no housewives and throwing drinks and shit on each other and all that other shit. There was court TV shows. All the drama that you saw came off of court TV shows. Well, all of the foolishness that had gone down with me and your mother was such that my mailbox would be full of letters from all of these court shows for like about 2.5 years because of the salacious nature of her filings, the frequency of them, and it was telling a compelling story. If your job was to book exciting guests and you was to come across that in court files, you are dying to get this guy on TV so that they can clown and act up or whatever. Well, of course, now good and goddamn well they thought that they wanted me on them shows. That wouldn't have worked out good at all.
No,
because if you thought for 2 seconds you was gonna get on there and clown me, you can fucking forget that shit. They wouldn't have been able to air the segment. Because I don't give a fuck about none of their asses. I'm like, nah, I went to law school just like you did. I know what you know, what you don't know. You can kiss all of my. Matter of fact, the most entertaining part of this show might be me deciding how far I want you to stick this show up your ass. Now, I am a reasonable man, so I don't want you to stick it so far till you're crippled or in a wheelchair or some shit. But you will stick this judge show up your ass if you think I want to disgrace my name, my father's name, okay, my mother's blood, fucking around and entertain you. Because fuck you and your show. And quite frankly, I know good and damn well the reason why they kept coming to me was because she was filing and she was probably talking to her, and they probably had her agreeing to go on there. Because she couldn't get anywhere in real court, she wanted to go there. But understand, all of that is the result of my conduct. She did what she did, but you cannot break a woman down and expect her to be whole for her kids. That is where the shit went off the rails. And it's rough for me to watch this now because I can't do anything about it. You're 32, your little brother's 27 years old. He has his own family now. And he's in court right now with her over some just some made up monkey shit.com. God only knows what. Always some kind of, but just to drag him in because now I suppose he reminds her of me. And it's unsettling. Well,
she's been saying that, but
I raised him. I suppose he should to some extent.
Right.
Yeah,
but,
he's his own man though, but
trying to paint this picture that but it's when she's saying reminds her of you, it's not even a matter of her reminding her of who you are in regards to the stand-up provider or father that you have been to us. It's more a matter of this villainous character that has been painted of you as far as like, calling you out as like an abuser or, or all these things, a massive manipulator and things like that. Like just spewing out whatever, will feed into this narrative that she is pushing, to try to completely shift gears and paying attention to what it is that she's actually doing, rants and things like that of just trying to sell a story that isn't, true.
Well, so that's the you said you used the phrase sell a story. You said sell a story and you couldn't be more right. It is about that. It is about that. And it wasn't just her because of my level of recklessness and to be clear, let me say this. First of all, I seek no forgiveness or understanding from anybody over shit that I've done. Only the people that I owe. That's you, that's your brother, and that's my wife now, who was involved or whatever with a lot of this shit. And to an extent, even those who I hurt That's her, and that's another woman who got involved with this. Yes, it was quite a mess. But when you mention selling a story, we would be remiss if we didn't mention the fact that this story that she told pales in comparison to the story that the next one that came along told, who wrote, both of them wrote books about me. That's apparently how fucked up an individual I am.
I'm not
That
trying to laugh,
now
but
you can fuck it, you can laugh
shit,
because the shit is
some
funny. And if
stuff
you
is
read it,
just.
you really would be laughing. And I think that at some point you had to have, I'm sure it was around. You're a curious
I
child. You had to
have
have
read
read
poems that have been written, not
all
realizing
variety of
that they were
shit.
a matter of
Yeah.
I
Well,
remember that. I'm sorry, I'm not
no,
trying to
no,
cut you
no, no,
off.
please speak freely. This
But
is our
just
platform.
speaking about like since that just triggered a moment. It's so much like I feel like would come up, but I remember I don't know if it was a class that I was in, if it was a improv class. Remember I was trying to get into acting for a little
Hmm.
while,
Hmm.
and I remember it was I needed a poem to recite, and
Oh my God, I remember that. The
she
Devil's Twin.
suggested, yeah, something like that. She
I'll never
suggested
forget
I
that.
read this poem,
Yeah.
and I had no idea what I was reading.
No.
And you were sitting in the audience, of course, at the time because I was much younger then. I don't know,
Yeah,
maybe.
you were not in high school yet. You were on your way to high
Yeah.
school. It was the summer before you started high school. So you were
Okay.
a child.
But it wasn't until like I think of maybe a couple years later when more stuff started spewing and spewing
Yeah.
when you guys are like, yes, I mean, it came up somehow that's what it
Yeah.
was. And I put two and two together because the word Jezebel was in there, and I really didn't.
Yeah.
I'm
Oh
not thinking to
wow.
look all of that up. I'm just like, oh, my
No.
mom wrote this poem, so I'm gonna recite her poem. Like
Wow. Damn, I forgot
Lord.
all
But
about
that's what I'm
that.
saying. Like stuff like that.
Yeah.
That you're putting on, a child who is. I don't want to say, oh, I'm so innocent, but at the time,
No,
yeah,
you were
fairly
innocent.
innocent,
You were complete. Well, to my
and
knowledge, you better have been at
yeah,
that age.
well, that's what I'm saying.
You better have
Like,
been
you
innocent as
know,
fuck at that
as far as
age.
being this age and trying not to, as far not trying to just be like, oh, I don't do anything wrong, but
Mhm.
I'm just saying, just along the years, and it gets a little frustrating sometimes because I know that people who don't have the same experiences, they aren't really able to genuinely understand. Like,
Mhm.
one of my best friends, she said this on my birthday. She came to visit me, and she was we were just catching up real quick because we hadn't seen each other in a while, and I was just like, well, yeah, me and my mom, we aren't really, we don't have a relationship at this point anymore.
Mhm.
And she goes, and me and my friends are very candid with each other. We can speak,
Mhm.
freely, no judgment, and still
Mhm.
love each other at the end of the day. And she was
Mhm.
like, Diane, that's how she talks.
Mhm.
Diane,
Mhm.
I don't mean to, sound such and such or whatever, but I think it's you. And so
Mhm.
I was just like, because she's had some knowledge of things that have transpired over the years with me and mommy,
Mhm.
but not, I don't think as much detail as like, some others might. But, it's just, you have no idea,
Was she
what's actually,
joking?
no, she
Okay.
wasn't. And so, a big part of me was that, well, I was trying to get out of the door and, go and celebrate my good time or whatever.
Mhm.
But, just like, we'll have to catch up because you don't know what you're talking about. Um, you know, I can understand with the patterns of the falling outs or
Mhm.
whatever, and just her knowing my nature that I'm kind of like, you messed up. I'm not really fooling with you or whatever. I'm quick to kind of just push somebody to the curb.
Mhm.
So I guess she, was correlating the two with that, but it was just
Mhm.
like, this has been years and years of things brewing in a big pot of just
Mhm.
mess and, discomfort. And it's a level of discomfort that does not contribute to growth, and that exists too.
And
And
what
it
I
was
owe to
stunting
you,
my growth.
well, yes, but here's the thing.
And
That pot, the chef, your mother was the ingredients, but I was the chef. Okay?
yes,
All the
and I
ingredients were
not,
there. And so, and as we have this discussion and going forward, whatever is going to happen is going to be what you offer because you are of age. You know what you want, you know what you don't want. But always keep in mind this thing, the appropriate level of accountability has to be on me because of how this is played out. Absolutely, she is responsible for her conduct. All of the shit she's done, because some of it was so detailed and conniving that can't nobody else make you do that. But it's
Yeah.
the heat and the hostility that drives it, that keeps it going. Because in her eyes, in her mind, I got away with it. All of the shit that I did in the end, how did I do all of that and then wind up with custody of you and your brother in court? How does that happen? How does it happen? Well, of course, it's a long story, but the simple story is, well, you acted a goddamn fool, and I learned how to practice law at the second rated clinical law program in the goddamn country. If my children are on the line, I don't care if I've been kicked out of the bar, whatever. It's like you don't want to do this, and I begged her not to do it, but she had a cheering section because we're in that era of the what the fuck waiting to exhale, right? Everybody's
Mhm.
galvanized around that energy. It's so ironic because I took your mother to see that movie on one of our early dates to see Waiting to Exhale. I swear to God. And I'm convinced that she had it in her mind somehow or another that if I wanted to get out of this, it was gonna like cost me like everything. I was gonna be all broke down and fucked over. I'm like, that's not really how this works in life. Okay. I am going another direction here and I want to, take care of you, take care of my kids, whatever. But she she wouldn't leave well enough alone. She kept coming and then she started that shit where a lot of women do, not letting y'all come out when I would come to get y'all to go and visit. And of course, I'm pugilistic by nature. It wound up where it wound up. And of course, y'all grew up with me, which, as we all know now, was absolutely the best thing that could have happened. Because for whatever my feelings were as a father, and they were many, they all related to her and not to y'all. My relationship with her
Yeah.
and not with y'all. And I think that that was the difference. That judge probably looked down and was like, okay, these are two fucked up individuals here. But one of them is fucked up. It involves the whole world. And one of them is just fucked up when it comes to this person right here. And I think that that's why I was awarded primary custody. I was there, and I can't imagine any other reason. She was cutting a clown, and she kept hiring these lawyers, and I kept warning her. I'm like, this person is not in my weight class. Let's don't do this. We can work this thing out. What
Yeah.
can I do? I just don't want to go through this or whatever. And it was like, no, she was gonna break me down like Angela Bassett did to Michael Beach and burn all my shit up and I was
Oh
gonna
my
be broke. She's gonna
God.
find all the money, whatever money she thought I was hitting the jokes on you because I didn't have no money to be hitting. I was living for my mother. The paychecks were decent paychecks, but they were just paychecks. There was no wealth hidden. I didn't have whatever the fuck was in her
It was
mind.
just enough to be
It was
good.
just what I
Yeah.
needed, and you know, but that's how things turned out, and so you do what you need to do for your own peace because that belongs to you, not to me, not to her, not to your bestest buddies. And God bless them, love people through their misunderstanding. Me and my best
Exactly.
friend had a big blow up when this thing first happened, and I love this dude like we are chosen brothers. And your mother had a way of manipulating other men to try to get them to come to me and get me to
Oh.
do things because I guess her deal was everybody's afraid of David and they're afraid to say, well, if you're some big ego guy like my friends are, you like, I ain't scared David. Fuck him. I'll tell him whatever the fuck. Of course you're gonna take that bait. I had like
Right.
three
You
or
gonna
four
fall
guys
right
I was
into the
close
trap.
to, sure. And so we had a big blow up over that thing, whatever, because he was, and you know him and love him to this day. He was like, God, man, you got to go ahead and let her have the kids. Don't let her have the kids. I was like, man, you don't know what the fuck you're talking about. And now let's go get something to eat. I'm not gonna hold it against you, but you took the bait. She batted eyes at you and made you feel big and brave and oh, you not scared. It's like, what, why would you be scared of me? I'll break somebody's back for you. I'm not gonna break your back. We tight like that. And one of my
Hmm.
cousins that I was very, very tight with took the bait. We wound up falling out years later over something. But he took the bait, and called up and all this other mess. I was like, man, my old dude my father, may he rest in peace, took the bait, and they hated each other. Like they never,
Wow.
they couldn't agree on shit. But when it was time to attack me, then they could get together on,
Then
on
they could
that
get
shit.
together or something.
They can get
They
together on
agree on
that.
that.
They could do that. But anything else, no. It was like a cobra and a mongoose from the beginning.
Yeah.
But I still have to say, if you that needs to be a positive takeaway from this
For
here.
sure. It
For
is.
and just men as we because there's so much fucked up energy out here in these YouTube streets and everywhere else trying to coach young men or advise them on do this and do that and
Oh
all that
God.
dumb alpha male shit and the simp shit. Fuck all of that.
Yeah.
Don't none of that mean a goddamn thing. Here's how you judge yourself. And my insight to share is that when you part ways with a woman, do your best to leave her no worse for the wear as best you can. Sometimes it isn't possible, but if you leave a woman and she is a shell of herself or her affairs are all fucked up, if she doesn't know which way is up anymore, she doesn't know what she wants to do anymore, her whole life becomes about avenging you disappointing her, you betraying her. That is on your record. I don't care what the fuck you have after the fact. I don't care who you get after the fact. That is a part of who you are. I can't hide from that. That's a reality. She is fucked up for all the stuff she's done, but I am fucked up for making her feel like she had nowhere to go with all of this hostility. If she could kill me and get away with it, she would. But she can't. But she would if she could. Can you imagine going around for decades with that level of hostility in you and you have nowhere to go with it? So it comes out in all these strange places. People that ain't done nothing to you, people that just get too close to your orbit, and God
I
forbid they
couldn't,
need
and
you for something,
that's a big part of it too. It's just it's a level of guilt that I would feel. That's why I was so thankful for you sending that video.
where you decide to take it right now could be different a year from now. But you
Mhm.
have to tend to your needs emotionally, psychologically in this moment. You don't owe
Yes.
anybody anything for that. You
Mhm.
don't owe her anything. And everybody, once you become an adult, I'm your father. Okay.
Mhm.
I deal with you on your terms, okay? That you decide what's appropriate and what's not. Okay? I don't get to decide that. I get to decide what's appropriate for me, but I
Mhm.
don't get to decide what's appropriate for you. Okay?
Yeah.
And I think that because we have healthy bones of our relationship, number one, we can have these conversations, but number two, it allows room for me to absolutely know that you are fucking up and that you're doing whatever you want to do and for it not to disrupt our relationship. It's like, well, you know, it's her show. It is her show. She is the driver in the NASCAR race going around the track, and your ass is in the damn pit now. You are in the pit crew. If she
Mhm.
needs help, the wheels start wobbling. She run out of gas. Whatever the fuck is wrong, you could be in the pit crew. She pull over, and you got her covered. You don't get to tell her how to drive anymore. That ship is sailed. So me coming to peace with that is about my own sanity, more than yours, but it's probably done a lot for you as well. Because I just realized you're gonna fuck up. You have to fuck things up your own way to figure out what the right way is.
Yeah.
Just like I was younger than you when I did all of the fuck stuff that caused all of this. That's a frightening thought, but I was. I
Mhm.
was younger than you when I was doing all that. I was affected. Fucking, I was in the streets, as they call it, in the streets.
You was for the
Just
streets.
I y'all have some y'all's peer group has made up some funny shit, and that's one of my phrases that I think is fucking funny. That for the street shit is funny as hell. When I first heard it, I was like, "What in the fuck is?" Go ahead.
Let me see work now.
But that's funny.
Yeah.
And there's a couple other ones that says some of the stuff that y'all's peer group made up is whack and awful. But a few of them things is funny, and that for the street shit is funny. So yes, your old dude was for the streets.
And it don't never help to be for the streets. No, I'm just
No,
kidding.
well, not if you're
But
gonna be somebody's, you're supposed to be somebody's husband
no.
and some little kid's father. It's not good
Yes.
to be for the streets. And I suppose now I said I wasn't gonna defend myself, and this is kind of job on my part, but I do. There's a point that I want to make though.
Yes.
You may or may not be aware as you look back on your childhood, but me being for the streets did not take me out of the home that much because from a professional standpoint, I happened to have a job that let me be for the streets during the daytime. So it wasn't like I was just, so you wouldn't have like noticed, why ain't my daddy at home? It wasn't never no shit like that. I wasn't like that because I loved you and your brother. And I loved your mother to an extent. Okay. And I say that not to be like, wise ass about it, but it's like, okay, if
No,
you really
I
love
understand.
somebody, it doesn't wind up the way that this shit wound up. It just doesn't. Okay. Not the kind of love that anybody wants to be the centerpiece of their life. They don't, but it's a part of our journey through this life. It's not a win, it's not a loss. It's a part of the journey. Okay. So I had to make that point because sometimes a person's history can get remixed, and I'm perfectly willing to be shit on for the things that I have done, but I don't like being shit on for the things that I haven't done. Thus, the whole Ike Turner backstory that's been constructed about me
Right,
by
right.
two different women or whatever to let them tell it I am Chief Smackahoe. Any woman that is with me is just getting smacked around, and it's the craziest shit in the world. I have never, that's not true. I have hit a woman, but it was not in a relationship. It was a fight I was having with a guy, and his girlfriend jumped on my back when I was a college kid. I punched her.
Oh,
I didn't know. I didn't know. I turned around and just threw a punch, and it was this
okay.
chick,
Well,
and
they
she got
say
flattened. So I can't
don't
say
need
I
to get
never hit a
involved in a
woman.
men's fight.
Ladies, don't do that shit. I know that y'all ride or die and Bonnie and Clyde, but you don't want to get, catch an overhand right from some 200-pound dude because you're trying to protect your man.
Right.
That's his job. But anyway, so I couldn't tell that lie because I guarantee you somebody could see this thing like, he lying. He said he never hit a woman. I remember when that motherfucker knocked out,
Because
the Trina. You're like, okay,
this
hold
year,
on.
that's what's going on.
And they said,
The
fuck, they want to
states.
speak. Leave it to me, boy. Always got to be the most dramatic story that it could possibly be.
What do you mean?
No, I'm just like reflecting back on this. Is so how many motherfuckers on a serious tip for a motherfucker to have two different women write a whole book about them, and one of them put on a motherfucking stage play, literally produced a stage play and shit about me. Well, I guess it was her story, but I was like the Ike Turner character in the story. Um, so so you know, I mean, without being
Not
rich or
funny.
famous, how does that happen? I mean,
Right.
usually, like, okay, you sell a story like that because it was some famous person that did this shit, but
Hmm.
you know,
I mean, you
negative.
don't gotta be famous to have a life that's just worth sharing. People have experiences every day, and I'm realizing now, like with all this blogging and stuff that's going on, like everyday people are very entertaining with the stories that we have and stuff. I mean,
You
like
know what?
it's
Let me share this, and I know where I may be meandering a little bit here, but this is important. When it comes to living all of that excitement and shit, right? When you kind of graduate from that kind of living and get into a more linear and constructive reality, okay? The little things that really give you joy change a lot. Like there have been a number of times when I have just lost track of my phone. I would have never lost track of my phone years ago. It would be a fucking tragedy. I'd be willing to call CSI to come help find my fucking phone. But
Dad.
now, and every time, every now and again, it'll happen. She'll just
Mm.
come in like, "Oh, you left your phone," and I get a little tingle. I'm like, "That feels wonderful." She done had my
Yes.
phone, and I didn't give a good
You
goddamn.
ain't
I
get a
know it
good
wasn't nothing in
goddamn.
that phone. Ah,
Yeah.
The little joys we deprive ourselves of when we acting a goddamn fool.
Mm,
Because having to keep up with your phone all the time, and if you are at the point where you need to be watching your phone and who's got it, you should really reconsider being with anybody at all. You really
mm.
should. I can't judge no goddamn body about what they should and shouldn't
No,
do.
no,
But
no.
it's
Of
just,
course not.
man, that's just a fucking stressful way to live. It's just
Mm,
stressful. It's
it is.
stressful. I don't have shit to explain to nobody. Now, a cynic could say, "Oh, well, now your ass is old and shit. You ain't good looking no more like you used to be. Fuck it, don't nobody want you, so you can't let the chick see your phone." Well, think what you want or whatever have you. I'm still me, you know what I'm saying? I'm just an older version of me. So I will always, if I decided to be for the streets, I like to think that I would still be a hit and not a flop, but we'll never find that out though. But we'll never find that shit out. We're gonna leave it like it is because a funny thing happens when your ass starts getting older too. You start looking around, you be like, damn, I don't really have time to be damn fucking around and fuck. I gotta make some goddamn money. I gotta do this. I gotta do that. Oh God, my son is in college. Oh, what's going on? Oh, my other son just had a
Mm.
child. Oh, what's going on? Oh, my daughter's buying a house. I ain't got time to be fuck that. I don't care
Yeah.
what you look like. I don't care what you can do in bed. I promise you I done seen it before. I don't give a fuck. You know what turns me on? Giving my kids some money to close on her house, helping with that. That turns me on.
That's
You know what
right.
turns
That's
me on?
right.
Keeping my son's child. That turns me on. Okay?
That's right.
Having my little son make the fucking dean's list. That's the turn on for me now. And all due respect to all that, God bless all you, because now you can turn on to see any goddamn thing on TV. I ain't mad at none of y'all. Baby, make your money. I'll make it. And I see ass
Mhm.
on there. You'll never get a dime out of Tricky D. I tell you that shit right now. I,
It's not
it is,
happening.
I don't know how, yeah, whatever. It's all love. I ain't
It
judging
is.
nobody.
It's
So
no judgment
anyway,
whatsoever. I'm not trying to be judged, but at the end of the day, that's a natural thing sometimes. But it is what it is, as long as we know what it is, and then I think
um,
that's the good, the positive spin out of this segment. I just think that having to find that peace within myself or just have that comfort and confidence in myself like I'm good, I'm good where I stand with the people that I have here right now with me while I'm making these great accomplishments, and everything I feel like pans out the way that it needs to in
good.
certain spans of life. And I think that I just feel blessed to have been able to been brought up in under your roof. And I'm thankful to have you as a father who's able to take accountability. That piece that you wrote was amazing. We're pinning it here. We're going to put it in the description box below. Oh, when a man breaks a woman, is that what it
Y-
was? Yep, when a man
yes.
breaks a woman. Yeah, that was a good one. Great, great piece to segue for this right here that we're discussing. But I
I
think
think I lost a few hundred female readers when that piece came out.
really
I
okay.
mean, what
So
the fuck? I don't give a fuck. It's like, listen, because they'll be back.
wow,
I'm the stuff I write. If I
but
can't give you like the hard edge, the sharp edge of stuff, I'm wasting your time. I'm not gonna write
yeah.
some shit that's
Because
designed to, yeah, fuck that. I'm gonna give it to
yeah,
you.
you're just
Hmm.
filtering out what needs to stay and what needs to go. You don't really, and not even that. Some people aren't able to just take, you said, harsh realities or harsh truths or whatnot. But or even if it's just them having you remind them of somebody else that's in
Sure, and
their
I can dig that, and it's
proximity.
like,
But
but you know what? But I'm still the
you're
dude that you
being
loved when I wrote the piece about y'all need to stop calling black women dark skin and shit. Y'all love me then or
oh, and that
whatever
was a
have
good
you.
piece too. Oh, I
Well,
can't wait till we
yeah,
talk about that one. But
yeah.
yeah, but
It's
I
funny.
get what your point.
I've gotten more resistance on, and not active, but that should be an easier sell than it's been. But whatever, it's
Mm,
whatever. You put the stuff out there. If you're a
yeah.
writer, a creative, you put your stuff out there and let people get it where they get it, and that's it. Some
That's
things are
it.
gonna be popular and some things are not. But if you start trying to write for popularity, I think your stuff is gonna suck. It's gonna be pandery, and
Yeah.
that's first of all, that shit is beneath me to do that.
Right.
I would just not ever do that.
Yeah,
I
just
wrote this
staying true
piece
to
that I thought it would
yourself.
be helpful to um I thought it would be helpful and it would be worth it to help any one or two or three people if it pissed off 300 or 400 that didn't want to read me no more because like, oh, he cheated on her. Like, yeah, that I guess because God knows you've never had anybody that cheats on you, right? That's never happened.
Right.
Your daddy never cheated on nobody. Your son never cheated on nobody. It's just me. I'm that guy, and so now we ain't friends no more. But that's okay.
Right. But that's a matter of just being true to yourself, and and I just think that's so admirable. I know that it was alleviating, I felt, from what I recall, for you in a lot of ways. So I'm thankful. It helped me, even though we have a personal relationship. It definitely helped me to at least see everything just panned out that way, and put in a spectrum like that, in a bubble, if you will. You know,
Yeah.
you know what I mean?
Let
Like, it was just,
grab another takeaway from this though. As you go into your own, as you manage your own life going forward, your attention and affection is yours and yours only. It must be earned, okay? It must be earned. If somebody isn't earning it, they shouldn't get it. The reason why things went so badly for your mother is that she should have cut my black ass loose way before I got to the point of filing for divorce on her. She should have got rid of my ass years before that. And it don't matter that y'all was little kids. In fact, because y'all were little, that was the time to do it. That was the time to do it. But, but she, I think, went along the lines of what think's happened to a lot of sisters is that there are some men, because you hear people talk about trophy wives all the time. There are trophy husbands too. Okay. Motherfuckers that get extra credit for certain shit that don't really profit you any, but it makes you look good in front of your mama and your friends, and your sister and shit. Because um, women overrate height. I feel I'm not like the tall motherfucker. I'm 6'1". This dude's taller than me, but the average guy is 5'8", 5'9". So that stands out. I'm a big guy. I was a nice looking guy, fresh out of law school or whatever. That's a catch.
yeah,
That's a catch. She should have gotten rid of my fucking ass a long time ago and just kept it moving. I would have had to pay what I would have had to pay. She would have been fine. But I don't think it was about the finances. I think she liked having me. It was a validation socially for her. Okay. And that I want you to make that a takeaway. And any sister that reads that or hears this, I'm not, you like what you like, you feel how you feel. But if your man is kind of winning on like resume or
mm,
he's winning on, you know, how he presents for your folks, give that a good hard look. Is that motherfucker really good for you? I wasn't good for your mother. I was not good for her. I wasn't. Any man that makes you feel bad about yourself is not, even if he doesn't do the shit on purpose, he's not good for you. I didn't do that shit on purpose. I didn't want your mother to feel bad. As far as I'm concerned, every time your mother went out, everybody was always trying to fuck her. I'm like, she gets plenty of attention, but it wasn't about the attention in the streets. If you're not getting the proper attention at home, and I don't just mean sexual attention, I don't just mean
yeah,
somebody's
no,
paying the bills. No, really making you feel secure. And I fucked up. I made the. It was a funny analogy. I laughed at it after I wrote it. I didn't write it to be funny, but it really was this. It's like if your mom was sitting on the edge of a crazy pool, right? She was sitting on the edge, and I come walking along, whatever, and I bump her, and she fell in the crazy pool. Well, even
I
though she
remember
was
that.
sitting right by the crazy pool, I'm the
You still
motherfucker that bumped
pushed
and knocked
her.
her in. I didn't mean to, but I did. I have to be accountable for that, and
And
that's real.
that's
So,
what's
and
appreciated, the
well,
accountability,
well, show, and that is truly the least that I can do.
the very
And
least.
for
Yes.
anybody who might, yes, I have apologized enough in her direction. The apologies are no more, because I don't treat sweet people who like fuck with my kids purposefully. Um, the reason why you don't get the full aggression treatment is because it would be unwise at this stage of my life to act out like that, when my children are capable of protecting themselves. You have me in your back pocket for anything that you need, but you can handle your stuff. You can handle it. But um, So yeah, I've made the appropriate apologies. No apologies for the one that did the play though. She didn't deserve no apology. It was fine like it was. She got what she needed to get. She got what she needed to get. What she was entitled to by law, she got it.
Yeah,
Fair and fucking square. Fair and square. And that shit
yeah.
is almost over. So
Very yes, and thankfully
yeah.
that is the case.
Yes,
You
well,
know,
you got to take care of that. It's real. I don't
all
understand
of it is
motherfuckers that try
real.
to run from the child support court.
Yes,
I don't
like
understand that. It's like,
it's
where
gonna
you going?
come one way or the
It's like cops. When motherfucker, it's like like, dude, where are you running? What are you doing? They got all these cars. Why are you fucking running? You're not getting away. They have dogs and shit. Just chill. You're caught. All right, look, let me just go ahead and take care of this,
other.
and this shit'll be over soon. But instead, I'm gonna be running down the street, panting, about to have a heart attack, can't breathe. Then I trip and fall, and then some damn snarling dog gets and starts trying to bite me in the nuts and shit. And I got some crazy
Oh
redneck
Lord.
cops on. Get on, you motherfucker! Fuck that, man. Just they got you. Stop running. And when it comes to child support, I would be like, no, just
Yeah,
stop
it's something
running.
you just gonna have to
Fuck
face.
it.
Like,
You'll be all right. Believe me.
yeah.
Yeah, you'll be okay. You'll adjust to that shit, and in the end, you did that, and you don't owe nobody an apology for shit. You're like, nah, I paid what I was supposed to pay. So you and them can go fuck themselves. I'm good. Take it how you want to take it. And that's that. So
Take it how
that was
you
a
want
little
to hear.
public service announcement that we would that wasn't supposed to be on the topic, but I mean, fuck it, it
Hey,
came up.
whatever.
So
It is what it
right.
is. Like the conversation is flowing, so that's just where it's going. But yeah. Well, I think that this was fruitful. I think we hit a lot of great points. I feel better getting that
Good.
out. I feel like, I don't know. I don't, not to feel vindicated in a way, but I just feel like I've been very quiet, publicly about this
Sure. Of course. Of
over
course.
time. Like, I just keep it within
Mm-hmm.
our parameters. But yeah, why not? That's how liberated I feel right now. Like, anything goes. I don't care. I feel
I'll
really good.
I'll share
So
this
that
with you,
feels
and believe me, I
yeah.
know that you and your girlfriend are gonna be tight and cool forever. I want to say this about her and like about my friends. Here's the thing: you recognize the lens through which people are looking at a situation, and then you think about how they got to be who they are in your life anyway, and then you go, okay, that doesn't make them completely wrong. And this is where my years of experience will have to trump yours. You know that me and my father had a ridiculously pugilistic relationship. I love my father very much. And I know that he loved me, but he didn't necessarily like me. Shocker. Some people, I'm just not your taste, and that's cool. But at a point, and I think I was about the age you are now. Now I was older. I can't take that credit. I was probably approaching 40. And I realized that if I was gonna have any kind of a relationship with him at all, it was going to be on me to set the tone, to set the terms, to do it my way, and to be done with it. But it had to be me. If I wanted to be a person that had a relationship, now mind you, my father did not do, he did ill shit and we had our fights, but the stuff that you had has been worse. And I've made that point many times because that was malicious, it was intentional, it was public. I never had any of that. Matter of fact, when your mother and the mother bitches was up there lying and shit on me, calling me everything but a child of God, he flew down here from DC to go to court with me. And he came in. It was so interesting because they was running talking shit. They had got up a whole motherfucking army brigade of motherfuckers that come in there and talk shit about me. And he could see how angry I was. And he came up like behind me. He was about the same size as me, and he put his arms around me, and I didn't realize I was so mad. I was shaking. My body was shaking, and he knew. Like I known this dude his whole life. He's about to knock somebody's head off their shoulders if I don't do my thing right here and now. Now that was me and him. That's very different from you and your mom's, but Keep this in mind. The way you feel right now, you may feel different in the years ahead, and that's okay. Let yourself evolve through this thing. I can give kind of advice because you are my child and all that, but these are insights, not advice. Let yourself evolve. If you feel different down the line and you want to engage, do that shit on your own terms. And if she act up, then you know that going in, she ain't gonna change. I'll spare you the suspense. She has been like she is now since she was 17 years old. She ain't gonna change. She's not.
Yeah.
Only thing that's still changing is you because you're continuing to grow and evolve and become whatever the highest self that you can get to is still on the way. Now, it may or may not be somebody who has the emotional, psychological jujitsu to contain her, and all that foolishness. But if you decide to find that out, that's okay too. You don't owe nobody but you. And that's that. I just wanted to share that with you before we wrap this thing.
That was a perfect wrap up for this. Thank you for that, Dad. Absolutely,
Thank
I'll take
you.
heed to that. Time only tells. So I just know right now this is how I feel, and I feel good. And it's nice to share this goodness with you and everyone at home. So
Yes.
thank you guys for tuning in again. Yes, please click the link below if you would like to go ahead and take a read at When a Man Breaks a Woman. The article is a great read. Also, I'm putting a link in below for
Tiffany
Tiffany
Cross.
Cross's that video for mommy issues. With two beautiful guests that were there as well. That was a great find. So if you have any relation to what we're discussing today, please give that a watch as well. Maybe you'll get a better feel of what we were discussing today. But stay tuned for the next episode we have coming. You'll see a nice preview to that soon. But in the meantime, thank you again, and we'll see you next time. Bye.
Stakes is high. You know them stakes is high when you talking about